You said something earlier. You said, just because a state is great today doesn't mean you're going to be great forever. That means at one point, they were probably pro-capitalism.
Of course.
New York was pro-cap. If I told you right now, when Mayor Giuliani was cleaning up the streets of New York with the mobsters, with Mayor, with him running for president, which, by the way, if Giuliani ran in 2012, 2016, when his energy was the way it was in the 90s, he would have probably won being a president, but America wasn't ready for Giuliani in the 90s. If I told you the 90s New York, in 2026, there's going to be a guy named Mamdani putting his hands on a Quran to become the mayor of New York City, would you have said, Pat, it'll fully happen? Or would you have said, you're crazy, it'll never take place?
No chance.
Here's a clip. Watch this clip here, folks. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to all of you. And I can't think of a better way to usher in 2026 than to be amongst family and friends and to inaugurate the man who will bring about a new era of progress, promise, and prosperity for New York City. Zoran, I am so proud of what you have accomplished, and I'm filled with joy about what we will accomplish for our beloved city.
She's part of the Kamala camp, like I can't,
Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State
His
of New York.
hands on a what?
Constitution
Quran.
of the State of New York.
Is it
and
really?
the Charter of the City of New York.
And the Charter of the City of New York.
And that I will faithfully discharge.
And that I will faithfully discharge.
The duties of.
The duties of.
The office of.
The office of.
The Mayor of the City of New York.
What is she going to say here, Rob?
According to the best of my ability.
You can pause it right there. If I told you that's what's going to happen, and then Rob, if you can get the clip of collectivism versus individualism, if I told you he's going to get elected, then I told you his supporters who showed up, there was no bathroom and drinks and food, you probably would have believed that. But if I told you he goes day one, all of Eric Adams's executive orders that he placed in, I think after September 2024 or whatever the date is, Rob, when the day he got charged, all of those are gone. And then he gives a speech in the financial capital of the world with 127 billionaires. This is New York City. This is not Little Rock. This is not Toledo. This is New York City. Watch this clip. Go ahead, Rob.
Closer together.
Great mustache.
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
Play that one more time, Rob, please. Can we hear what he just said? We will replace.
Of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. If our campaign demonstrated that the people of New York yearn for solidarity, then let this government foster it.
Do me a favor, pause and then go to the clip of Tax the Rich with Bernie Sanders, his famous baseball card that he had with his earmuffs that he was freezing. I don't know if you guys remember that. That I gifted a PSA 10 card to Joe Rogan when I was on the podcast with him the first time. Here's possibly one of the greatest hairdos in the world. Go ahead, but Bernie Sanders here giving a speech, and you're hearing the Tax the Rich in the back. Go ahead.
Lastly, and maybe most importantly, demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes.
All unemployed people like, yeah.
Coming to a city near you, folks. Look at the smile. She's got $600 shoes on.
Boots, $600 boots.
Yeah.
Screaming communism.
Yeah, look at that. Communism is awesome, right? Pause it right there. Okay, so when you see that and you go back to it, right? Stephen A., this is New York City. Mm-hmm. You know, you grew up in New York City. You came up in New York City, right? Mm-hmm. Did you ever think the city that was built by capitalists, by business owners, by founders, by investors, by people who came up, they were the example. You would watch, the life of the rich and famous. One day, I'm going to grow up and be rich. I remember being a 14-year-old kid, first time I heard about Democrats and Republicans, because in Iran it was all about communism and imperialism. I come home one day and I asked my mom, I said, Mom, today they talked about Democrats and Republicans. I said, really? Yeah. I said, are we Democrats or are we Republicans? And she said, we're Democrats. I said, why? She said, because Democrats are for the poor and Republicans are for the rich. I said, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a Republican one day because I want to be rich. I want to have money. Did you ever think a city like that, you walk up and you just do one of these things, right? This is what you do this in New York. It's like, wow, look at all these towers. Look at all these incredible buildings. right? You ever gone to the top of New York and you have at these Michelin star restaurants, you're sitting and you're like, look at the view, let's take a picture. Like, what an incredible, it doesn't make any sense. Did you ever think a socialist Muslim man was going to be the mayor of New York City?
Yes.
Tell us why.
A year ago.
A year ago.
Not before then, a year ago. When you look at what's happening on college campuses, the behavior of the young students and what have you, and you juxtapose that or you pay attention to what happened in the election with Mamdani going up against Cuomo, who ran as an independent, and Eric Adams had his issues, so he couldn't really get involved in that whole process and what have you. You saw that I thought that without question, Andrew Cuomo was the most qualified candidate for the job. He's a 3-term governor in the state of New York, was coasting to a 4th term until he got derailed not just by the nursing home scandal during COVID, but also by the allegations that were levied against him. Then to be out of office and have to come back and try to get the mayoral seat in New York City, there were young voters out there. And all of a sudden, he looked old at age 67. Still got a lot of life left in them, still got a lot of politics left in them. They said, nah, we're not feeling that. We don't want that. We want this. And then I thought about the fact that I have 2 daughters, and I thought about every child that I've never seen any child that's different. They want free stuff. Now, whether they get it or not is contingent on the parental, stewardship that's hovering over them. But they want it for free. If they can get it for free, if they can get it without working, if they can get their way and let somebody else handle the repercussions, that's what children do. That's what young adults do. We just have to not be blind to it. And we also have to remember that when Biden was president, what did he do? I'm going to eradicate all student loans. I mean, we're going to forgive that. Supreme Court had to step in and say, you don't have the authority to do that. But that's what he tried to do, knowing the likelihood of him being able to pull that off was slim to none. But it really, really looked good. And it made sure to ingratiate a whole bunch of people with that administration and ultimately the Democrats, because why? You were talking about something that was free. What does Mamdani do? Free child care, free buses, at least one free grocery store in every borough, stuff like, yeah, we don't have to pay for it. They're not thinking, but my parents do. My grandparents will. My aunts and uncles will. My bosses might. Not think about that. They're thinking about, I don't have to pay. And those are the people that were at the polls in New York City. I had told, I hope Chris remembers this. I remember Chris Cuomo was a friend of mine. I told him, I said, man, I don't care what happened with Andrew Cuomo. If you're going to run, I think he should have ran for the governor's chair again. Because the city is about kids. It's about Broadway. Mm-hmm. It's about the streets. The state is about the adults.
Yep.
And that's how I felt Mamdani was going to win, because he was going to have that young vote on lock, and he pulled it off.
Vinny, you, New York, how do you feel about it?
Well, being from Yonkers, New York, which Adam always says
Adam Madden, Idu Metuna Almendi.
Oh yeah. Well, Adam's saying that, and like you were talking about, Pat, looking up at the towers. And I think back about the 2 main towers that aren't there, which was 9/11. So for Mamdani to come in there, listen, for everybody that's out there, that's all these sideline Christians, and listen, this is a Christian nation, okay? Full stop. Plain and simple. I don't know when this whole, that symbolism right there of putting your hand in the Quran, I respect everybody's religion, but this is a Christian nation, okay? Hands down. I don't like the fact that they did that in a subway, hidden from everybody so nobody could see it. That's number one. And now the cabinet, Pat. Let's get to the cabinet of who's around him. He's already bringing in people that have been arrested for kidnapping and robbery to be on his advisory board. And then also, he just appointed Chief Counsel Ramzi Qasem. He's the attorney who helped defend Ahmed al-Darbi, the al-Qaeda member who was convicted for the 2017, he was convicted in 2017 of the 2002 bombing of the French oil tanker Limburg off the coast of Yemen. And as a New Yorker, Stephen, we're talking about New York. We're talking about a city that was attacked on 9/11, okay? Thousands of Americans, firefighters, cops. My uncle was downtown when it happened. My mom, we were all tripping out. All that. And this guy is going to bring in a lawyer as his chief counsel, his number one lawyer, who was defending terrorists. I think it's a spit in the face. I think this dude is a wolf in sheep's clothing. That smile and that thing, I don't buy it.
You don't like the smile?
I don't buy it for one bit. And Stephen, piggybacking off you, all the free stuff, all the this, all the that, it's never worked. It's never worked. We have how many case studies of it not working, and yet people, like you said, the younger people, we want it. We want the free stuff. We want the free stuff. I again, respect people because they can do what they want, because I pray for people and I hope that they come to Christ. That's where I am in my life, okay, with everything that's happened in my life. But to bring that to New York City, I think it's a spit in the face to everybody in New York, period.
Well, I get where he's coming from. I just don't look at it. I'll let you guys go. I just want to say this. I get you, and you feeling that way is justified. If I felt that way, justified. I got it. Kids are kids. They don't know any better. You know what I'm saying? That they want what they want, you know, and with age comes wisdom, experience, et cetera, and you got to live certain things, because I thought totally differently when I was 20 years of age compared to how I think now, obviously. So you got that part. The other part that we have to remember is that we have to recall who we are as a nation. It is perfectly within his right, even in a Christian country, to use the Holy Quran, to swear in. He's a Muslim. He's not a Christian. So them knowing it, he didn't hide it from the public. He let everybody know he was a Muslim. They voted for him anyway. And for him to be sworn in based off of his religious beliefs, it comes back to the tenets our country lives on. That's what makes us who we are. That's what makes us great. It ain't just billionaires. It's not just American billionaires. This podcast, where are you from? Iran. You see what I'm saying? You know, got people from all over the world that have made a contribution to this country, and that's what makes us great. Our willingness to embrace and to accept those who are different, may have different beliefs or whatever. We don't want them to lose sight of what America's about. We want them to remember that America's a capitalistic society, and that is the problem.
That's not him.
But I'm saying being sworn in with the Holy Quran is not the end of the world for a man who campaigned as a Muslim, let the constituency know exactly who he is and what his religious beliefs are. In a country that embraces a multitude of religions, he did nothing wrong in that regard.
But when you go to court, in any court in the United States of America, if you're a Muslim, you're not putting your hand on you don't get a special recommendation for the Quran. You are putting your hand
but he's not
on the
in
King
court.
James Bible.
But he's not in court. He's not a criminal.
I'm just saying in any circumstance. But here's the thing, Stephen. The moment we start letting these little incremental things happen, that is that slowly America, we're loving, we're caring. People don't understand, because like where my family, his family's from, that's why we fled. That's why our families left, because of that culture. We don't mesh well.
And I'm saying America's stronger than that.
Rome fell.
Things might annoy us from time to time, but you can embrace a multitude of things while still standing firm on the foundation of what America is all about. We are not as fragile as we come across as being. People today give the impression, because we're so vitriolic against one another and so abrasive. But if we really, really think about it, we have the intestinal fortitude to overcome these things.
Let me just say something. I don't mind that he gets sworn in, Zohar Mamdani, on the Quran. I kind of mind the words that are in the book that talk about killing Christians and killing Jews and killing the infidels. You could swear on whatever, but open up the book and be like, oh, damn, that's what he stands for. If you would have told me 20 years ago that you're going to elect a socialist in the heart of capitalism in New York, I'd be like, all right. If you're going to elect an Islamist where 9/11 happened, I'd be like, all right. No, you're going to elect a socialist Islamist in New York. It just further proves that young people are stupid. And you're one generation away from stupid people taking over your country. You know, they say that when you're young, if you're not a liberal, you have no heart. And if when you're older and you are not a conservative, you have no brain. These people are stupid. And I'll tell you, I was stupid. Hands up. Because I remember the first year that I made a lot of money. First time I ever made over $500,000, I was like, oh, damn, we rich now. Not Stephen A. rich, not PBD rich. But I had money for the first time in my life, like real money. And I was like, what are all these taxes? What's all this? And that's in Florida. So if you want to do that in California, when it's another 13%, or New York, it's another 13%, young people are stupid, and they're the ones that fell for the socialist, Islamist.
Let me ask this question.
Con job.
Are they stupid, talking about young people? Because I don't believe they are. Are they stupid, or are they fed up? Because before this move, to the extreme left, which I think has definitely ravaged and harmed this country. I'm not down for that, okay? Is it possible that when we have a debt that's now at over 38 trillion, when we had issues with safety in the streets, when we've had ample time spanning decades to address our border issues and we refuse to do so, isn't there an abundance of evidence that has shown that the frustration of the younger generation is completely justified because of the world that has been handed to them? Because people didn't do what they were supposed to do before all of this?
Great point. And the answer is yes, they are stupid, and I'll tell you why. Because their anger is justified, but their response is stupid. Hey guys, the system has failed us. Let's bring in a socialist. As if he's not gonna tax you more. You see what's going on in California? They want to do a billionaire's tax. It's just everyone's gonna be equally poor. So to me, young people have never paid taxes. When you start in 1989, you said?
93.
93, my bad. I mean, you look young, but you've been around the block. How old were you then?
1993, I was, 27.
Okay, so you just started making money. These people are 21, 22. They go to Columbia University. They go to Cornell. They've been indoctrinated with Marxism. And if you poll any New Yorker, they think socialism is better than capitalism. So yes, they're stupid, because there's a difference between being educated in the school system and wise.
Danny, I'm sure
These
you have
people are
strong
not
opinion. I'll
wise.
come to you first, and I'll give some thoughts, and we'll go to the next
Real
story.
quick, when I moved to New York City, or New York, I lived in New Jersey, but I would go into New York City all the time. 1996 was when I was drafted by the Giants. That was Rudy Giuliani. That was peak New York. Clean streets, safe to walk around in Times Square, anywhere else. The economy was great. Then, of course, we saw 9/11, how they resurrected it after that. But where to your point about the young voters there are dumb, is it's been Democrat controlled, and New York City has been in decline at least since COVID, and arguably before that. And you're going to go further left for the fix? That's, to me, what makes no sense whatsoever. There was a commentator, I forget who it was I think it was on Bill Maher, where he said, "Let them win, this socialist. Every 20 years, we need to see it."
George Will.
So we saw that. That makes me disappointed. Because I love New York City. I love visiting there. It's a great spot. I go there with my dad since I was a kid. We go up to Yankees games. It's the greatest city in the world.
Isn't your dad here with us?
I think he's in the back still. I don't know if you went home.
Dad, can you put your hand up? At least we can see you. Where are you, Dad?
There he is.
We love you, Dad. We love you, Dad.
And I don't think this is going to work. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, or before there's a change, and that makes me bummed out for New York.
Can I give you the sports guys, the number one sports guy in the world? You know how sports teams, certain teams will tank to get a number one draft pick? Maybe these cities are tanking, esoterically, in order to rebuild like a phoenix,
Let me give some thoughts on this, because I think that was his way of saying, Stephen A., can you please invite me to First Take? That's what Adam just did right there. He just wants an invitation. But let's talk about whether the kids are stupid or not, or all this other stuff. Okay, so to me, you saw the numbers that came up with Yale. 83% of professors are Democrat, 15% are somewhat independent, 2% are Republicans. 1 out of 50 professors at Yale are Republican. 1 out of 50, that's a monopoly. Let's continue. Teachers, English teachers in America, for every dollar given to a political party, 98 cents was given to the Democratic Party for English teachers. Science is 97 cents. The only one that was 87 cents was math. That was 87 cents to the Democratic Party, 13 cents to the Republican Party. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. The If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.